This early June, I had the pleasure of watching Roman Holiday at the Orpheum Theater in downtown Los Angeles. I arrived a little bit late, so they just scanned the ticket on my phone, but I was told that there was a long line and people had to throw their food away before coming in. While people were finding their seat, there was old Hollywood trivia projected on the screen and a well-dressed man playing the organ. From what I could tell, the theater only had one stage, and the building had a balcony and some private boxes on the side. I found a seat towards the back of the orchestra, nearby the entrance, so I was underneath this balcony where I got to see this beautiful glass art the entire time. My instinct is to call it stained glass, but I don't think that's what it is. But it is a form of glass art. At around 7, they showed an old animation of Betty Boop as poor Cinderella, which begs the question, what version of Cinderella is not poor? This event was hosted by the Los Angeles Conservancy, a non-profit that has a mission to preserve historic buildings in LA. So after showing Betty Boop, the president and CEO of LA Conservancy came up to talk about the organization and their work conserving LA's historic buildings like this theater. He also talked about the LA Conservancy's effort to help rebuild after the LA fires that happened earlier this year. After all, even though the fires were no longer in the headlines, people in the Pacific Palisades and Altadena still needed to rebuild their lives. He also mentioned the Apple Tower Theater, which was half a block away. A friend told me that it was the first theater in LA to show a talkie. It's now an Apple store. The president and CEO of LA Conservancy introduced the film Roman Holiday, which was innovated at a time because it was one of the first movies to be filmed in location and showcased a lot of historic architecture. It was because of these ties with architecture, this movie was picked as part of their series Last Remaining Seats, which they were hosting throughout June. He also mentioned plans to host a movie night around Halloween, giving people the opportunity to watch a scary movie while wearing a costume. I don't like scary movies, therefore I won't be watching, but please go if you are interested. Gregory Peck's daughter Cecilia came up next to tell some behind-the-scenes stories about the film that I won't get into because of time, but I will tell one for this video. For those that don't know, Roman Holiday was Audrey Hepburn's Hollywood debut. Cecilia told this story about how her father initially had top billing in the movie, but in the middle of filming, he called his people up in Los Angeles and asked to put Hepburn on equal billing with him. Gregory Peck got some pushback from his agents because Hepburn was just a newcomer, and Gregory Peck was a veteran actor who earned the right for solo billing, but Peck insisted because Audrey Hepburn was that amazing. He predicted that Audrey Hepburn would win an Oscar on her very first Hollywood movie, which she did, so congratulations to her. And we love a guy who lifts up women. After Cecilia's speech, we started watching the movie, and in a way that only movies can, a theater full of people in downtown LA was transported in 1950s Italy, a time before the European Union, the Euro, and Twitter squabbles. Audrey Hepburn as her character mustered so much charm and grace in situations I would be freaking out in, and a lot of other women I talked to afterwards were in agreement. It was truly a different time. My friends and I absolutely loved the ending, as it was bittersweet and grounded, totally not your typical happy Hollywood ending like Notting Hill. Though personally, I think the longing glances lasted a little too long. There was an option to stay for the Q&A section, where we could ask more about the Orpheum Theater, and I stayed for a bit. They talked about the history of the theater, and how in the past it showed some vaudeville performances and other stories like that. I left before it ended, but I got a chance to check out the lobby after the movie. There was a photo opportunity with a prop gelato and cameras, as well as opportunity to sign up for the LA Conservancy. Overall, it was a pretty nice night in downtown LA. I was already contemplating making this video for a while now, and I initially planned to make this a quick TikTok or a quick video, but something unexpected happened around this time in LA. To address the elephant in the room, I was aware of the protests and raids happening in the city, and I just want to share my perspective as someone who was in downtown when all of this was happening. I wish for a peaceful resolution, and that's pretty much it.